Cracking, what's popping, what's going on, what's up? I think I said the order wrong again. I don't care. I am reacting to another Sneako and Destiny conversation, and I get so annoyed every time I have to listen to this man Sneako. It makes me more disappointed to be from New Haven as well. It's just, well, I'm by New Haven. I know that nigga's from New Haven, but there's a difference. Let me just play the clip.
Most people will fail because they will give up and they will go back to the safe route as soon as it becomes difficult. A lot of people don't have the opportunity to really fully dive into that. It's difficult. I mean, I was able to do it because I've been focusing on it since I was 14. I saw from the beginning, from a young age, that I did not want to be a wage slave. I did not want to be part of a cognitive system, and so I worked hard. But that's what separates the people, the winners from the losers, is just working hard. Most people are not able to do it. Destiny's encouraging complacency, and I'm encouraging ambition.
You gotta stop.
He believes people should follow their dreams and their passion and shouldn't let society convince them to take this the same stereotypical route that everyone expects them to take, which removes some of their desires and makes them an average. Maybe part of it's about being an average earner, but a lot of it's about being happy. So I think there's value in that. He's motivating his fan base specifically to chase after something more than what society expects of them. I think that's a generous, or not generous, I think that's an honest way of interpreting at least how his fans would view him. And I think that's what he's saying. Chase after your dreams. Don't give up. Don't just do what society expects you to do because they expect you to do it. Like, it's possible that everyone can be successful. And that's where I'm going to stop at any generous interpretation, because I think after that point, it's losing a lot of shit. Destiny's then saying in response, statistically, you're more than likely going to fail if you follow your, depending on what your dreams are. Like if you follow certain dreams, you're statistically going to fail. There's nothing wrong with going to college or doing some form of education, not necessarily college, but going through some form of education. That could be the military, that could be college, that could be a trade, that could be mentoring under somebody, that could be working in some field, doing an internship, just anything in that general, following some form of learning in education, an average, like a standard version of learning in education, that's not some unique trailblazing entrepreneurial path. Nothing wrong with doing that instead. In fact, statistically, you're much more likely to be successful. You're probably, by successful meaning you can take care of yourself, you can pay your bills, you can live comfortably, you can have, maybe it's just rent, maybe it's have a house, you can hang out with your friends, have a family, you can be generally happy. And these things shouldn't be as opposed as they are. It should be as simple as, oh, okay, I see. I want that sneako side. I want my I would like people to follow their dreams and their passions. It should be like, that's interesting. Okay, people should also do what's reasonable and take care of themselves financially. But every time Sneako's calling Destiny a bot. Because he's telling people to go to a scam. He keeps calling college a scam because he's saying, hey, you're promised some job and you're not actually guaranteed some job, which is interesting to call college a scam, because there's an expectation that you're going to be employed, you're going to be better off, and that's not always going to be the case. There are examples of people that have a master's degree that have no job, or they're not even working in their field. Maybe they're the theater kid or arts degree that's a barista meme. Cool, great. However, I'm going to go into that in a second too, but if not being guaranteed to get what you are going to achieve is a scam, then what Sneako's offering is also a scam. Well, expecting, it's like chasing your dreams. You're probably going to, no matter what your dream is, you're probably going to fail. You're more than likely, people are not going to accomplish their dreams, assuming their dream is not work a 9-to-5 job in some office somewhere, or at some restaurant, or to any just regular standard job, or a night shift job, or work at some factory. Like, if that's not your dream, you're probably going to fail. If your dream is make the NBA, or what, like be an astronaut or something, like back in the old days, or being a YouTuber now, like, you're probably going to fail as a YouTuber. You're probably going to fail as a Twitch streamer. You're probably going to fail as an actress, a singer, or a rapper. You're probably going to fail. When I say probably, like 99.99% of the time, you're going to fail as like a basketball player, like out of everybody in middle school who wants to become one. Or I don't even know how many high school players become. It's a really small percent, but it's not like 99.99. Like, probably don't accomplish your dream if your dreams are some of these really, really rare things, really rare things. Or if your dream is to be a CEO, you're probably going to fail. Your dream is to own a business, you're probably going to fail. And that's okay to still follow things that you might fail. That's still okay. But if it's a scam to not succeed or not be guaranteed success, or not even likely to get success, like college suggests you should be getting success, then it's a scam to follow your dreams, which I don't think anyone thinks is the case. Like sometimes things don't work out. I think it's how we'd look at it if you failed running a business, or maybe you think you're just not a hard worker. That's another topic. We'll get back to that. Let's go back to the college aspect. On average, people who go to college increase their income. It's just statistically the case. If you go to college, average, you're more than likely going to be able, especially like if you're a low income person, right? Like if you come from a middle to high income family, and both your parents came from college, and then you also go to college, you're not necessarily getting a higher income than your parents. Especially if we're considering like the value of money decreasing or whatnot. But you're probably going to live a steady and stable life, more than likely if you went to college versus if you didn't go to college and did something else. The average person that doesn't go to college and just follows some other avenue, more than likely they either have to stay with their parents, they have to get some other job that earns considerably less because it's not a specialized field. They're just working in some blue collar work, then more than likely not being successful. Maybe at some point they start a business, but again, most businesses fail. So more than likely they're just adding new areas to fail. Let's see. You can take on a lot of debt trying to start a business. You can file for bankruptcy, of course, that's another option, but you're probably going to take on a lot of debt starting a business too. You can take on a lot of debt going to college. One issue is saying like you pay like $100,000 to go to college. You don't. Not everyone's paying $100,000 to go to college. What was my example? Anecdotal example. I owe like $35K, which is low because there's about $7,000 off per semester or per year. No, per semester. So it's $14,000 off. So over 4 years, would it be at 100,000? I'm just gonna make it 15 because my brain's not very good. 30. Say, you know what? I think it actually at UNH at my school, if 4 times, I think I would. If I had to do everything loans, I didn't have any type of scholarship, then I think I would have about 100K of total student debt. But I went to University of New Haven, which is when I was there, it was top 10 in student debt after college. So I went to one of the most, not necessarily the most expensive, but one of the places where you're most likely to have student debt. So other places could be more expensive, but just there's also, scholarships afforded by different students going to different places, different people's earning potential after certain schools. Like, I think UNH is as expensive as some of the higher Ivy League schools, and with a lot of people that don't necessarily end up earning that much afterwards. However, I got lucky. I went to a high school that offered a discount program, and other students there's an academic scholarship where if you keep I don't know what your GPA was, but if you keep your GPA at a certain point, you get about the same discount that I would get. So if I kept my GPA at a certain point, there'd be another scholarship that was about equal, a little bit higher than mine was. So it's still expensive. I had a lucky situation. But that being said, 1 year after college, I was working at T-Mobile. I tried to work with my dad, tried to use my business experience to help. Not as successful. I would have thought a lot about business. I just didn't understand working in the real field. Worked at Uber for a year, but then with my degree, I ended up getting a sales job. It was like $85K a year. COVID happened, shut that down. Then I did Uber again. Now I'm looking for a new job, and at first I'm like, I'm gonna settle for a $35K job. And now I'm like looking around, just with having a degree and some of the positions offered, I'm like, I should probably be able to pull like 50 to 60K somewhere. I'm just gonna I'm trying to look for, this is way too personal, but I should be able to pull from 45 to 55K because that's the average income of an earner in the United States after college. If with a job is about 55, from 45 to about 55K. That's the average income afterwards. Now, the average earner in the United States, I think, earns $63,000. In Connecticut, it's also $60,000. That's where I'm from. There's of course, you have to factor in, earners in New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, California. That goes against other states which are lower earners. Like, I actually don't know. Some of the red states are lower earners. So, of course, there's variation. But on average, you go to college, you earn upwards of 55K, and you become an average person like right after college, if you get a job right after college. Or maybe it takes you 2 years, then you get up to that 55K. You can start investing, and you can start investing crypto if you want. Get a 401K, get a Roth IRA. Start your business at that point. Save money for 10 years. Invest in stocks and whatever. Save in a brokerage for 10 years. And with your 55K or more, maybe you get raises. But after you landed a secure job, if you got a 9 to 5 that you were doing 3 hours after the day, if you don't have kids especially, you can invest in whatever thing you want to do. Chase your dreams after you've secured something. That's a reasonable thing to do. That's one of Destiny's points. Go to school, go to trade, do something to get a secure job, take care of yourself, then chase your dreams in a way that doesn't screw yourself over. Because if you instead, right out of high school, like, okay, well, let me try and become a YouTuber. Well, you'll be living on less, and maybe you're working a part-time job making 20K a year. You can only really afford to stay at the same level. You're not saving money. Probably. If you're staying with your parents, you still might not be saving money, because at 20K a year, you're probably losing a good some of your money to just your food and your car. Well, if you have a car. But if you have a car, you have a phone, and you have insurance, and just food, you might lose a good sum of your money to just that. If you and you probably can save, I'd say you could probably save somewhere around 300 to, and depending on your situation with your parents, 300 maybe 700 per month, maybe. I'm gonna say upwards of 700 if you get a decent, you're working full time at whatever low salary job with your parents. If you're upwards to 30 or 40K, yeah, well then you probably are going to be expected. Maybe your parents are really nice, but you're probably expected to get your own place at that point. And whatever increase you get to that 30K range, it's offset immediately by rent. I mean, but maybe you stay in your parents' place if you get these out. It's still possible, though, that in the time that you saved not going to college 4 years, you're just doing your job and your music, your art. I think saying art kind of covers everything, but your music, your art, your videos, your passion, whatnot. That's 4 years of time you can dedicate to figuring out. You may even figure out that you don't want to do it and find something else. Then maybe go back to school. That's possible. But in all of that time, if you do fail, which statistically you more than likely will, you haven't saved much money if you had to have your own place the whole time. If you could stay with your parents those 4 years, awesome, great. And then you figure it out, even better. But probably you failed. And okay, so that's like the logic behind doing one thing or doing the other. Now, the issue with like the conversation between them is, I think Destiny's trying to explain, and Mudahar, or Some Ordinary Gamers, for you know him as Mudahar. You probably, if you're here, you know him as Mudahar. We're saying like, hey, look, they're like, we did this after working and trying to figure this out. Destiny actually worked not a great job, then got lucky based on his explanation. Still saying he's smart, but he's saying he basically got lucky. 5 years earlier, couldn't have done it. 5 years later, probably wouldn't have done it. Mudahar figured out after being an engineer, and then he could commit his time after he had a safety net. Both really realistic expectations, like, hey, I got lucky, not everyone will, versus I couldn't take that risk to get lucky. I needed to figure out life. Sneako's like, you're telling people to give up when you did something successfully. I think that'd be like, not like, well, maybe not LeBron James. That's a little extreme. Maybe XQC would be like LeBron, just like popularity. LaMelo Ball or something, telling every kid, not kids that go to the basketball camp, but just like people who are watching him on an open media day, like, hey, yeah, commit. Like, don't waste your time with school. Try and make it to the NBA. For one, you have to at least do decent enough, and well, you're supposed to do decent enough in school to make an NCAA roster. LaMelo Ball didn't. He played overseas. Never went to college. He played overseas. He went. His dad made a league for him, which your parents aren't rich enough to do that for you. Like, he had opportunities that other people will not get just because of how rich himself and successful his father already was. Also, his older brother made it to the league already, so there's attention and more eyes on him. So everything he's doing overseas, NBA scouts are looking, they're waiting to see how great he is. He also played on a team with two brothers who had chemistry that could work together to create teams that consistently won. Because Lonzo Ball, LaMelo Ball, and D'Angelo were all on the same team, coached by a father. And they kept moving schools to make sure they got a place where they can win. Those are opportunities that someone isn't going to have. Now, LaMelo Ball could also say, I worked hard, that's why I'm successful. Because that's true. He's successful and he worked hard. But he's not only successful because he worked hard. There are other people that worked hard and are not successful. I think my own dad, is an example. He works in, I actually don't know how he's doing right now financially, but when I was still in contact with my family, he was working crazy hours running his painting business. Same one I tried to work for a little bit. But then the fucking recession happened. Just got unlucky. He had to work a security job for 4 years, 4 years, I think, and he could try to get back on his feet. But even he had to borrow money from my grandma at times because the fucking recession happened. Who knows? Recession doesn't happen. Maybe we live an entirely different life. Maybe be successful. I think there's other aspects that he could have done things differently, but I don't know enough about the business, which I learned by trying to work with him. I don't know about the business to say what he even needed to do wrong and right. There are many steps he probably could have taken differently, but some people may have taken the exact same steps as he did and were successful. You know why I know that? Because people gave him advice and he did the exact same things that his peers did, and he was not successful. People can do the same thing and fail, and everyone assumes, not everyone, a lot of people assume that when they're successful, it's because they worked harder, because intuitively that's what it feels like. Even, try to bring it back to that. I'm a basketball fan. I'm gonna bring it back to it. If I go out and shoot a game-winning shot, I feel like I am that guy. I'm that dude. I made that shot because of those grind, all those hours that I put in. But I've also been playing with random dude. I like to pass a lot. I'll pass a random dude that I know can't shoot. And sometimes he hits the game-winning shot. Look at him, I know with certainty I'm a better shooter and better player than him. But he made that shot. And it happens. Sometimes I'll miss it. Sometimes someone's so much better than we will miss. Sometimes I'll be guarding someone who's cooking me the whole game, and they'll miss the most important shot. Sometimes you do everything right and still fail because there's just numbers that work against you. There's just certain variations that you just can't predict for. There's certain hard work isn't it. Hard work's a lot of it. And the harder you work, the more likely you will be successful. But just because you work hard doesn't mean you will be successful. So if you work really hard in an area that statistically is likely to fail, you're screwing yourself over. Who are some of the... many athletes, many actresses, many actors, they still went to school or found some sort of skill that they could have. So in case they failed, they could still do something else because they knew it's not guaranteed. But we shouldn't have to ask the people who are successful to say that. Because if you ask Sneako, it's hey, look, you did it, and you still don't think people should do what you do. I'm really annoyed with Sneako's lack of ability to understand that this is an unreasonable risk. Following your dreams isn't bad, but following your dreams at the impediment of your current financial security is bad. Even Destiny explained to him, look, Sneako said that he learned to edit in a month from YouTube videos, whilst also saying that he'd been making content when he was 14 years old. And it wasn't at 14 on the 1 month that he would do this. This was after, years later, because he went to college studying film and filmography, something relating to the field. And he dropped out from there. Then he said afterwards he's looked up videos and learned it all in a month. The thing is, that's what I'm saying, you had been learning by working on projects since you were 14. I'd argue that a lot of people who go to college probably that weren't working on editing videos are probably going to fucking fail because they didn't work on it since they were younger. A lot of coders and programmers that they've dropped, people that were trying to study coding and programming, because you can learn it online before you can get a head start. They can get an understanding of how they need to actually execute code, that the theory in the books are imperative to certain stuff, but it's not the whole picture when it comes to learning. You may not even understand the use of theory if you hadn't worked on it at all. Like a lot of people that are learning coding for free online, like, hey, we're not going to teach you all the theory. I'm going to tell you what to do, and you're going to kind of take in some of the theory in the background. And then you can maybe study some more advanced concept when this theory can mean something because you're actually executing it practically. Like, there's value to doing stuff outside of school, too. But it's not just as simple as, I figured this thing out with the internet. This video is getting way too long. This is way too long because I'm talking about so many things. Because I think it's a complicated topic. I think it's not as simple as follow your dreams, figure out the internet has answers. There's so many ways to make money on the internet. I complain about that point. Sneako says there's so many ways to make money on the internet. I don't know that that's true. I mean, there are ways to make money on the internet, but there are more ways to work than a job than I think there are ways to make money on the internet. Like, being a social media influencer is one way, right? I mean, you could be a social media influencer on TikTok, on Twitch, on Instagram. I'm just gonna start listing apps. Maybe I don't know how you make money on Snapchat. Maybe on Snapchat, but Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok. I don't know how successful TikTok influencers are. Like, under the top, like 0.01% either. Also, can you make? I think Facebook videos paid because I know they have ads. So there's that. What else? You can make it. Well, no, all the other ways that you can like make a business and then sell a program or a product, you need those. Well, you need to be either access to an influencer or be an influencer. So that's one way to make money. So being an influencer, being you're paid by ad revenue, or being an influencer being that you have sponsorships, or leverage the fact that you or someone you're connected with is an influencer to sell a product or service. So that's all through the avenue of being an influencer. Now, if we're talking about, I know he said he's not a crypto guy. Well, trading in general, like, you can trade on the internet, but you need a really high amount of money to trade stocks and bonds. Like, to be a day trader, you need a lot of money. You can't just hop in. So that's right out. Like, if you can afford to be a day trader, you have a lot of money from some other source anyway. And most traders lose money anyway, but that's a different topic. Cryptocurrency traders also mostly lose money. The way that credit works is a little more stable in trading than it is in crypto. I mean, for the most part, obviously, if it's a rug pull, that's obviously a scam. But a lot of situations where for someone to be making money on some crypto, someone else has to be losing it a lot of the time. Not always, but a lot of the time. I mean, even when people are investing, like, people treat cryptocurrencies like, not like a pyramid scheme, but like, I don't remember the example, but like, you're speculating on it, right? Like, people don't look at Bitcoin as a means of purchasing things. Back in the good old days when the drug dealers and other people were using it for its original purpose as a currency. They're like, oh no, it's increasing in value. This is a store of value instead of something that can be used to purchase items. That's its whole other problem. But most people fail in those areas. I mean, the thing is, most of the ways you can make money on the internet, people fail to do so. OnlyFans, like, most people aren't successful OnlyFans model. There are few examples of people that are really, like, that top 0.01%. Those are the really successful ones. Like, under 5%, I don't know how much different it is than working a regular job. I'd still argue it's easier than doing a regular job. Like, almost no matter what level of OnlyFans model, almost any job is probably harder than that. Because if you're managing your time correctly, you're making videos and content that can be done, like, the content you make for the entire week, or the content you make for an entire month can be done in a week, or the entire content you make for an entire week can be done in a day. A lot of it's going to be, if you're low level, becoming an influencer. Again, you have to become an influencer for it to be, or you have to find ways to make yourself popular, especially now because it's oversaturated. Or if you're already famous, you can just drop one. I think I've rambled enough. Conclusion. Like and subscribe? No. Conclusion. People, like, I don't know what his fans think. I've never talked to a real Sneako fan. Like, when someone is saying to someone that is a Sneako fan or to Sneako, not everyone will be successful, so it's not reasonable to suggest to do something. It's like, don't spend all your money on a lottery ticket, because you're probably not going to win the lottery. Even though if you do, you'll be more successful than you ever imagined. but you're more than likely going to keep wasting money and never win. Or even lower levels of lottery tickets, like scratch-offs, you're going to lose more money than you put, statistically, you're going to lose more money you put into it. There's probably some rare examples of people, every time I get one, I win. I just keep getting it. It's free. I go in on the day and I get my 500 the weekend. There's probably some people like that. Statistically, there almost has to be someone at least that happens to. But almost everyone else is going to keep losing money doing this. So that's unreasonable to do this when you're more than likely going to fail. And not just 51%, like 95% of the time you're going to fail. That's a horrible decision-making process. Versus if you can afford to go to college or some trade school or some other setup, or if you want to invest for 4 years, you work 2 part-time jobs or 2 low-paying jobs, then you save your money so you can go to college. Like, you spent 4 years doing that, another 4 years in college, yes, 8 years down the train, and maybe you still got some debt afterwards. If you secured a $55,000 salary, you can start working towards paying off that debt. And even if you don't, you got a skill that you can use to grow further, depending on the degree. Don't get a degree in theology and expect to, maybe theology's probably not a degree in, I don't want to insult somebody, I don't care, in music theory and expect to be pulling some decent salary. But depending on the field, you might jump up from 50,000, 60,000, 70,000, 80,000, maybe a 6-figure salary within 10 years, 20 years, which that shouldn't be looked down on. Like, almost anybody can get close to or near a 6-figure salary if they have the right degree and they grind hard. Like, if you grind really fucking hard in mathematics, engineering, or software engineering, it's still going to be hard to get a job. It's going to be pretty hard. But you're going to be more likely to get that job. And again, in those jobs, like 80K plus, you're fine. You're good. If you work that job for 10 years and save your money reasonably, you can invest in some other stuff and be fine for the rest of your, maybe 20, 30 years. After 30 years, then you can invest in enough stuff and you'd probably be fine. You'd probably fucking retire. I mean, after 5 years of, actually, I think after like 3 years of being a junior data analyst or a junior software developer, I think you can go to another company and get like a 15K salary increase. Maybe that's extra, but I don't think it is. And boom, like, you're probably, if you were starting at 80K, then boom, you're at 95 to somewhere around 100 and something K. Like, you're good. Like, that's achievable for more people than doing the other stuff. Okay, we're at 27 minutes. This is a half an hour video. This should not be that long. I'm not gonna edit this because I'm lazy. So that's just the whole ramble thoughts. If you like what you heard, leave a like, leave a subscribe, do a crime, don't do a crime. I'm out.